Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielsen and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of The Lock Shop. Thank you very much for the download. Thank you very much for the subscription. Thank you very much for tuning in on Twitter or YouTube, at Lock Shop Bets on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel today. As always, Lock Shop brought to you by our great partners over at Coolbet. Sign up for an account. Use the code LOCKSHOP when you do. Early stages of the Masters. We'll take a look at that. And obviously a busy night in the NHL. We've got a full slate of puck picks for you today. Haas, how you doing, man? What's up?
Well, just getting ready for Winnipeg Sports Talk today at 1. Should be an interesting show after the Jets lost at home last night to the Calgary Flames. Nothing is ever easy with this team, Dusty. I was telling you before. And I guess considering what Winnipeg and Calgary have been this season, it makes sense that it will come right down to the final couple games of the year. And of course, the Nashville Predators are probably feeling like they've got a bit better of a shot as well after the Jets lost last night. They're here on Saturday, so I'm looking forward to getting past the show, focusing on the Masters for a couple days until that game on Saturday night. It'll be good to take me away from the anxiety and stress around this team and this fan base right now.
Well, my wife is sick today, so I didn't do my morning show. So I got Elizabeth to school. Marshall's been not feeling well, so he's home with me. We settled in today. I watched about an hour and a half of the Masters this morning, which was just Thursday at the Masters. Nothing like it. We watched Tiger for 5 or 6 holes. He's playing with Vic, and Vic Hovland's off to an absolutely wonderful start. Shane Lowry with a nice start. Patrick Reed finds himself in the mix. Adam Scott. Cam Young opened birdie. Looked great. He's given one back. Not a great start for John Rahm. A double to open things up, but he's bounced back now, and he's 1 under as of us doing this at 10:37 on the opening day of the Masters, Sus. But I just love seeing the big boys in play. You know, it's just exciting.
Yeah, and I'm just looking here at you mentioned Vic, who's playing the 9th right now and is the leader at 4 under. Then Shane Lowry, who is on my card.
Yep.
Like to see that 3 under. He's just starting his back 9. The bad guy, Pat Reed, and then a group at 1, including Sergio, Seamus Power, Keegan Bradley, Xander, Justin Thomas, John Rahm, Hideki Matsuyama, Cam Smith, and Brooks Koepka. I mean, they're all right there. And these are the names. This is why we were so looking forward to this tournament. And by the way, shout out to Mike Weir. Weir went out early. He's in the clubhouse at even par. You might be able to play the weekend, Mike Weir. That's a very, very nice performance for the elder statesman of the Canadian contingent at the tournament.
Yeah, so lots going on. We'll see movement, obviously, work our way through the day. Everybody's not even off yet. And then, yeah, it should be an absolutely phenomenal weekend. If we can get a leaderboard with 7 or 8 of the top 15 players in the world on Sunday, I don't think anybody will be disappointed in any way. So fingers crossed that happens, man. I want to see it.
Just looking to see if there's any other big numbers. Bubba Watson's 4 over. Abe Answer's 3 over. Mac Hughes and Sahith Theegala 3 over right now.
Yeah.
DeChambeau doubled the first hole. So he just started 2 over right out of the gate. No one's too upset about that. Oh, and Tiger was at he's at 2 over through 8 right now. So lots.
He was 3 over. Just
today.
got a birdie on 8. So I was watching. He's just a little bit off watching. I watched his first 5 holes, and just not as on it. On top of it is the other 2 guys that he's playing with today. So we'll see how it factors in. And remember, weather in the forecast, rain in the forecast for the weekend. So that's something that could end up playing a role. So if you can have some 6. So what time's Rory off? What time's Rory tee off at? I'm gonna get in on that.
1:40 Eastern. So kind of 12:40
okay. So still some time.
Just before noon out your way.
Second last group out was Sam Burns and Kim, and then Spieth, Finau, and Fleetwood to wrap things up at 10 o'clock or noon our time today here in Edmonton. So, yeah, that'll be good. Huss, straight to the National Hockey League tonight, man. It's not going to be an overly long episode of the Lock Shop, but it is a busy night in the NHL. I like that Canucks pick that you got tonight. Where else are you going?
Yeah, well, let's start it off. Boston at the Leafs. Leafs at Boston. And for a team that basically wins every game, I thought a home money line number of -157 is pretty good value. And I really do think that Boston, even though that they've establish themselves as the number one team in the league, going up against a division rival like Toronto that has been sort of, up and down themselves since the trade deadline. I don't think Boston wants to give this team any confidence whatsoever, and I think they jump on them tonight and get the job done at home. It's amazing that the Florida Panthers, sort of the opposite of the Jets, they've been out of the playoffs for so long, have finally now gotten into that final spot. And they've got the Ottawa Senators, who are now basically destined for the draft lottery. Listen, this is a big number, minus 238, not a number that I'd probably bet on its own, but wanted to get a couple other games that I felt good in with the Vancouver puck line. So Florida, got to have it, taking on the Ottawa Senators at home in a playoff spot. I think they get it done. So Boston, Florida to win. And then we're going to add in the Vancouver Canucks at home against the Chicago Blackhawks on the puck line at minus 105. Now, I know Calgary pulled off the Hawks pulled off the miracle against Calgary 2 nights ago, which blew our exclusive. However, as you mentioned on the show, I mean, leading into that game, they had lost the last 8 games all by 2 goals or more. And to be honest, Vancouver was up 2-0 the other day. They ended up losing to Seattle. I think that they're playing hard for Rick Tocchet right now. I think they're coming around, and this will be a game that they certainly feel that they're clearly the better team. And I think this will be a fun one for Vancouver. I wouldn't be surprised if they run away with it. So at a plus money number of plus 105, I like the Canucks on that puck line. I'm going to put that in with the money line Panthers and Bruins right now, and just about 4-1 plus 377 on a 3-gamer tonight for my hockey picks.
You think something legitimately to build on there with Vancouver with the way they've played in the last month or so? Or is there still got to be significant roster and personnel changes in the offseason?
Well, listen, I think probably a little bit of both. I mean, I just don't think that if you started right now, Vancouver is going to be a team that would be contending in the West, but they do have some really good players right now. And I think Rick Tocchet is going to probably be influential in adding a few more pieces in the mold that he wants his team to play in. And obviously maybe get out of a couple of contracts as well. We'll see what happens with OEL, whether they buy him out. Tyler Myers, I believe, is getting down to the end. And, a bit of a turnover, some younger blood in with Vancouver, I think would do them well. But the bottom line is right now they're playing hard. And I think they're at least trying to create that culture that can help them be more competitive this year. And that's why I like them to really stick it to the Hawks tonight at home.
All right, for me, I like a huge game tonight in the Pacific with the Kings and the Golden Knights. I'll get to that one in a second. I'm going to take Minnesota, pretty good team to be getting as a dog. Now, they're on the road, but I'm going to take a money line at plus 112 here against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Huge game for both of these teams. Minnesota fighting at the top of division. Pittsburgh fighting to try to get into the postseason as a wild card. So it's a massive game for both of these teams. But Minnesota has lost back-to-back games to the Golden Knights. And I just feel they're too good of a team to let this slide continue any further. So I'm going to take Minnesota at plus 112 on the money line and get some pretty good value here on the Minnesota Wild against the Pittsburgh Penguins tonight. Dallas in regulation, minus 154. I actually don't mind just playing that one. It's minus 154, but I don't mind playing that one on its own. You could look at them on the puck line as well here against the Philadelphia Flyers tonight, but I was going to take them in regulation at home, minus 154 to get into this parlay. And then the Kings and the Golden Knights, the total set at 6, so I bumped it up to 6.5. It's still minus 131 to get it under 6.5, and the Kings play unders. That's what the Kings do. You saw what just happened to 2 low-scoring, tight games against the best offense in the National Hockey League in the Edmonton Oilers, and I would assume Todd McClellan, with what's on the line in this game, might want to sprinkle a little regulation tie in this game as well. Todd McClellan's guys are going to be set up in a 1-3-1 the entire game, just trying to suck the life out of the Golden Knights here, and it might end up working, but it's a great tool to hit these unders. So Vegas and LA under 6.5 at minus 131. If you parlay all three of them, if you want, plus 517.
Yeah, I love that pick on the under the Vegas Kings game. I think we're going to see, particularly those teams playing in very tight, very low-scoring playoff games, and I think both of those teams are really readying themselves to be that team right now, not to wait to try to turn it on in game number 1. So I think this will be somewhat of a playoff preview, potential series they could go at it in the first or second round right now, and I think that's going to make goals much more at a premium. And not to mention the Kings now finally are getting some goaltending. I mean, part of the reason why they weren't playing, those overs earlier in the season, or the unders, I should say, they had to score a lot because they had to make up for some pretty mediocre goaltending. But obviously, we know the trade of Korpisalo. He's come in, and I mean, the Kings are now playing really, really good hockey. As are Vegas right now is the number one team in the conference. So it should be a good one tonight.
It's interesting to see how this is going to play out in the Pacific tonight, specifically for Oilers fans watching this game, Huss. Because if the Golden Knights win, they go 3-up on the Oilers for top spot in the conference, which is not ideal. But the Oilers would then still remain 3-up on the Kings for home ice in the first round against the Kings. If the Kings win, 1 point back of the Oilers, but the Oilers would still just be a point back of the Golden Knights. They've all would have played 79 games. So it's whoever wins the division is going to win the conference. It's going to be first seed throughout the playoffs in the West. So it's big. And the Oilers finish with the Sharks twice and the Avs. So that's 5, maybe 6 points, right? So yeah, it's going to be a good race down the stretch. I don't even know where Oilers fans come out on this one tonight. So yeah, it should be good.
Go get your hockey fix in tonight, folks, because there's a ton of games. And then tomorrow, there are 0 games in the National Hockey League. A full dark day.
What?
I cannot remember that. Yeah, no games tomorrow.
Why?
0. I have
Easter,
no idea.
like just because of Friday, like Good Friday. I mean, that's weird.
Again, I've got no good answer for you. It doesn't make any sense. It's a holiday in most places. If anything, I would have imagined that you would have wanted to have more games on Good Friday, knowing that a lot of people are off work. But
well, they'll be watching the Masters.
I just read it. Exactly. We'll be focusing in on other things, and then big night in the league coming up on Saturday.
All right, that's going to do it for maybe the quickest episode of the Lock Shop ever, but we got you what you needed today. 6 picks in the National Hockey League tonight, and no games on Friday, and we'll be back on Monday with more episode and more actions of the Lock Shop. If you've not yet followed us on Twitter, it's at Lock Shop Bets. Same thing on YouTube at Lock Shop Bets over there as well. Haas, you got Winnipeg Sports Talk coming up today. Outside of a full-blown meltdown, what else is in the cards today?
It won't be a meltdown like last Wednesday after the Sharks game. But you know what? We will speak to everything around the hockey club. We're going to kind of pack in and kind of 2 days and 2 days of guests into one show. So Billick will be jumping on, Brandon Rowicki will be coming on, and Ken Weave as well from Sportsnet. So everything you need to know about the Jets coming out of last night's game, heading into Saturday's game against the Nashville Predators. And of course, we'll be keeping an eye on the Masters as well. So join us at 1:00 Central on YouTube. And Dusty, you have yourself a good weekend and get back to daddy duty.
Yeah, I got to go look after my family. Haas, enjoy the tournament, buddy. We'll talk to you next week.
Take it easy.